Hey everybody, and welcome back to Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing. I am your brand new, lovely host, Glitchwitch, and right now we've got Digimon World 4 with Fire1520, and I will let Fire take it away.
Hi. Thanks for
Hello.
watching. Hello people, Fire here. We're gonna have some fun. Right off the bat, I'm gonna ask to cut the incentive. The last I checked, it was Gamecube. Can you check for me real quick again if it's still that? Because we're gonna need the main incentive right now.
Let's see, your incentive. Is this the naming one? We are at Gamecube.
Uh-huh. Great name, guys. Great name. Where's the K? Alright, fellas. This is Digimon World 4. Quick disclaimer about the incentive. There's no scrolling text, so you can name yourself whatever you want and you will never lose any time. So that's absolutely great. You could put whatever you wanted. You could make me go through all the menus and you will not lose any time. And with that, I believe I'm going to be ready. The timer starts when I press start. If we're okay to go, I'm going to count us down. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright folks, this is Digimon World 4. The basic premise of this is, you know how Digimon is like great and all and it's got all those RPGs? Well, as you can clearly see, we're holding a dagger that's bigger than my head. Actually, it's bigger than most of my body, to be honest. So, this is not your typical Digimon game. This is actually more of a hack and slash game. It does have RPG elements. You do have level progression, techniques, equipment, and stuff. But most of the things, like the majority of the game, is actually focused on execution and movement and parrying and stuff, rather than your actual stats. So this is going to be a bit different than what you might be used to if you've played other games, especially the most recent ones. Also, another disclaimer, it's, to my knowledge, the only game in which every Digimon holds a weapon, because reasons, I suppose. And yeah, it's gonna be great fun. So at the very beginning of the game, nothing too major happening. Our commander of Phantomon just, gives us a mission. Something about a server just that we had that was a friend of ours just vanishing and a new server showing up. It's the Doom server. Go figure out what's going on. That's the basic gist of it. So we picked Gomon because it is the best Digimon in the game, and that is not a joke. It is mechanically the best Digimon in the game for reasons I'll explain once they actually become relevant. For now, though, we're gonna have to go through the tutorial. Now, tutorial time. We unfortunately cannot skip it every time you start a new game. You need to do this. However, we don't actually have to follow the instructions that have been given. So long as we clear the objective as fast as possible, we're going to move on as fast as possible. So the game's going to tell us to do all sorts of movement text, but we're just going to pretty much ignore everything and use MP techniques, specifically Petit Fire, because it deals a lot more damage than we could otherwise. And because within each step of the tutorial, it completely refills our mana, so that's great. This Gaburiamon right here could have dropped bits, the currency for this game. The next thing that I'm going to be fighting is the Ogremon. It will always drop me an MP Disc Alpha. It's a guaranteed drop, and actually one that's pretty useful. There it is. Now, coming up here is going to be a Numemon. You see that I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to walk to it, stab, and then use Petit Fire. The reason for that is, fire wouldn't be enough to kill it in one shot, and if I did, just shot it straight away, it would go through a huge period of knockback and invincibility. Ooh, nice drop. Actually useless in a marathon. But anyway, so to avoid that huge period of knockback in which it's invincible, I do a little stab first and then use the big hit. Here you're gonna see me use a charge attack. It is exactly as you think. You just press and hold and charge. The reason why I do this is because this attack, it has the property that it can destroy objects like those rocks in a single hit. Normally those big rocks would take 5 attacks before I could destroy them. But by doing the charge attack, I just take once. You may also see that I've moved pretty fast. That is because the charge attack also gives me that little bit of move speed bonus. It is not a faster form of movement because, like you have to stand still. However, if you're already standing still, like because you need to charge attack, you might as well do it from afar to get the little bit of extra move speed. This is an idea that's going to be used a couple of times throughout the run. Anyway, first part of the game, Death Valley. So right off the bat is going to come the most difficult, well, as soon as this cutscene ends. We're going to see 2 enemies, and unfortunately they're going to block us. It's the most difficult part of the run, actually. So we have to somehow get through them. Let's see if I can do this. There they are. Oh, no, they're hitting me. Stop. No. Okay, you know what? Host, can we restart the stream real quick? I kind of died. It's embarrassing. Can we, like, try this again?
I believe you got it this time. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. I'll try this again. So, anyway, the reason why you do that is because this game is extremely well programmed, and when you die for the first time, as you guys have seen, a bunch of messages pop up explaining what happens upon death. Pretty simple. The problem is, this game is very Dark Souls-ish in its difficulty, and so the game developer just thought, everyone's just gonna die in the first area anyway, and never bothered to code those messages later on. Which means that if you play the game good, and your first death happens outside of those first couple of areas, because the messages are not there, the game kind of soft locks and the run ends right then and there. So for a world record attempt, you might as well just reset the run, but for a marathon, obviously you don't have the luxury, so you kind of have to suicide. It's not that big of a deal, it only costs us a little less than a minute. But it makes sure that we can finish the run. I don't expect to die, it's not particularly likely, but just in case it happens, you might as well. Anyway, so for those that have played the game know that what the game expects you to do is that you beat a couple of bosses, get a couple of keys, and then unlock the next area. But I have a better idea. I'm just gonna come here and I'm sorry, I just went out of bounds and saved 15 minutes of gameplay. Don't worry about that. Walls are just a suggestion. So yeah, it's great. I see people talking about my volume. I'm gonna try to lower it a little bit. I just lowered it a little bit, see if it became a little bit better. If not, I can try tweaking it again. Anyways, out of bounds. Yeah, so good thing about it, we save 15 minutes of gameplay from going through dungeons and collecting keys. Bad news, we're gonna come into an area at level 1 whereas it should be more like level 5, and we're not gonna have any equipment whatsoever. So yeah, this is gonna be great fun. Great fun. I should mention that these enemies can 3-hit me. And if one of those is the crit, they can 2-shot me. So yeah, this is gonna be great. You see me walking along kind of the edges, that's to avoid spawning the enemies, so that we can come here and collect loot. Potentially something good. Unfortunately, nothing major. You see that I spawn, then go back for that last crate. The reason for that is there are actually 2 sets of enemies, and that crate triggers the second set to spawn. However, if you trigger the crate without spawning the first set vanishes. It's not a problem, the game just continues as normal. However, because we want to grind here for a little while, we want to spawn as many enemies per loading screen as possible. You see me kind of hurting them. They have 74 HP each. So I basically take about 20 hits to kill them. I'm gonna focus a little bit. Okay. So more enemies are gonna be spawning at the bottom, and if you just stay at that top room, they will not follow you, and that will waste time. So just come here and get out of my safe corner to try and lure them so that I can hit as many of them as I can. We're gonna be grinding here for a little while. It's usually a 20-ish minute grind. We'll be looking for a couple of stuff. Mainly level 7. If I'm not level 7, I'm leaving this place. But there's other stuff that I need as well, so yeah.
If we have a 20-minute grind, I could throw a donation in.
Yep, there's gonna be another one of those later as well, but sure.
We'll not get them all out of the way. We'll save some for the other grinds, but let's see. We have, with no comment, Dragonista with $5. Thank you for that. And if you're all wondering what we're all doing here, you are watching Questing for Glory, Hope and Healing, which I have erroneously called Hope for Healing during my opening run today. We are benefiting NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and you know, we could totally use some donations. We've got some bid wars coming up and some, some bid goals, which I am looking for my page. We have Fight Ball in Disgaea 4. We have a lot of Disgaea 4 ones. Fight Ball is almost met, you can push that over. We've got Max Damage Showcase because 18 digits on a damage number is realistic. And plenty more, which I'm sure you'll hear me talk about.
Okay, so I should mention that my mashing is actually really bad. Because this is the first run of the day, so I'm kind of not getting into a rhythm right now. Unfortunately, unless you can mash at 60 frames a second, it's probably not a good idea to mash, but rather get a rhythm going because of your attack cooldown. And unfortunately, I'm not being able to get it. I'm also playing very safe. Like, normally I would let those guys get much closer to me in the name of keeping the attacks up, but for the sake of being absolutely as safe as possible, I'm trying to stay far away from them, like right there. Normally I would just be standing still and pressing, and if they hit me, and if I die, I reset. But obviously I can't do that right now. So, I should mention the things that we're looking for right now. We're obviously looking for experience to get our levels up, that's a given. But there are two other things that are actually even more important than the experience. The first one is tech. This game works on a proficiency-based system, so if you want to equip a better weapon, you don't. It's not your level that determines if you can do that or not. It's your proficiency. So if you have enough tech in a given weapon type, you can equip a weapon. If you don't, you can't, regardless of being max level or not. So we want to equip a better weapon that requires 210 stab tech, which is the one that we're using on right now. So we're gonna need that. In fact, that's the reason why we need level 7 specifically, is because you only have a cap of 30 tech per level. It changes later on, but early in the game, that's about it. So that's why you need level 7. And the other thing that we're looking for here is equipment that we can then sell for a whole bunch of money. Also, in regards to tech, it is kind of RNG. Each time you see that tech up arrow, it means that I'm getting tech, which is good because it increases our cap. But not only that, tech is part of the damage formula. So the earlier I get that tech going, the earlier I'm going to increase my damage. And as such, the earlier I'm going to start killing these guys fast. Right now, this actually seems like a pretty decent run. I was level 2 and already on the 5 to 6 damage range, which is actually pretty good. Usually don't get that. Guess going slow has its advantages.
This is a tremendous amount of slowly stabbing. I mean, I don't know what these things are. They look like goblins to me. But
here's the rule of thumb for Digimon. Think of what it is, add mon at the name. So these guys are called Gaburumon. Because like it's Japanese, so like it's Gaburu instead of Goblin. You know.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense now. Like, I admittedly, I know very little about Digimon. I barely know anything about Pokemon, so this is going to be a fun learning experience.
To know the franchise. Terrible way to start knowing it.
Oh no, this is. I'm ready to learn all about Digimon thanks to Digimon World 4.
Okay, I should mention that level ups are pretty useful in this game because not only they make us stronger, they completely refill MP and HP. In this early grind section, because we don't have that many healing discs, refueling HP is extremely helpful, but later on, actually the MP refills is going to be the main point of interest. Oh, couldn't get that, what a shame. So yeah, it's gonna be very helpful because we're gonna be spamming MP out of the wazoo. And in fact, all of our money is gonna go towards MP at the later stages of the run. Ooh, 9 damage range, that's good. You know what? Let's just do this. One thing that you can use is the fire technique. Okay, there we go. So that you can kill enemies from afar and start walking towards the door. And then you stand at the door and prepare a charge attack because you really don't have anything better to do. You just have to wait for the door to open. So you might as well prepare a charge attack and get a little bit of extra move speed. Speaking of move speed, you'll see me sometimes lunge forward with a green thingy. That's a technique called block dash. The game says it's slam attack, but really it deals no damage, and the way you do it is just like you block and then you dash. So we call it block dash. Very intuitive. For better or worse, it is not faster than walking on its own because while in a vacuum you do move a little bit faster, you go through a period of recoil right after it that makes it slower than just straight up walking. However, if you have to wait for a cutscene, say for instance that door closing, or if you have to wait for a prompt like do you want to go to the next area to load, you might as well get that little bit of extra movement and not worry about the recoil because they're going to be standing still anyway. Optimally done by a task, I think you can save up to 20 frames in a 60 frame game, so it's like a third of a second. As a human, it depends on how good you are, but I usually save about 10 frames. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but you might as well. Really. And it is important to use it for other purposes later on, so if you get good for those purposes later, you might as well do the technique to save time next to loading screens and stuff. So there's no harm in doing it. Oh, I should mention that out of those crates at the bottom, I got a Cipher Core. That's basically your armor for this game. There are three types of three items that we could have gotten: the Cipher Core, the Element Core, the Brave Core. We want the Brave Core because it increases speed, and speed is good for speedrunning. It also helps you with accuracy, because like you can see that enemies sometimes block my hits. The higher your speed, the less likely they are to do that, and the more likely you are to auto-block them yourself. So we want speed is going to be our main stat after strength, which is damage. So I would want the Brave Core for that reason. Element Core is the middle ground. It doesn't give you speed, but gives you good defenses. Whereas Cipher Core, it boosts your magic capabilities. However, we're not going to be using magic for the purposes of damage. So while it is good to have a little bit of extra defense, it's not really all that useful. We're just going to equip it here to make it a little bit safer, and then sell later when we get to the base to get money. Because they are worth a lot. Oh, there's one more. I miscounted. If you don't lure them, that happens. You just go to the door and it doesn't open. That's a shame. Oh well. So yeah, we're level 5 right now. On the next quest, we're not gonna level up. Then I think, if I've been counting right, and then we're gonna get to 6, and then 7, and then we can move on. In regards to the items, technically we just need one item. So the way that the game works is that we're gonna want a super strong weapon. We're gonna want mod chips that increase the strength of that weapon. We're gonna want the Brave Core that we didn't get so far. And we also want to get the Beast Core, which greatly increases our offense and that we can't get in this area. So that's like a lot of stuff. All of that costs like what, 5k? If you include the chips, like 6 grand maybe. And the items that these guys drop, they're worth 40 apiece. So yeah, you can clearly see that math kind of doesn't work out. And the reason why it does in the run is that all of those weapons that these guys are dropping, they could potentially have something called mods. What are mods? They're just slots that you can add chips to a given item to make the item stronger. So for instance, a weapon could have life steal if you added a mod chip. It could have MP steal. You could have fire damage instead of just no damage properties at all. And because that's a very good effect, they greatly jack up the price for both buying and selling. So the idea here is that we're gonna get lucky, I think, and one of those weapons is gonna have mods so that we can sell for a whole bunch of money. I've run this game in Questing for Glory 2017, the first one, and in that one I actually got pretty decent. I think I got a 3 mod 1. The plan today is to either get 0 mod and have a really bad run, or have a 5 mod and have the god run. So let's see what the game will give me. I should also mention that you see me standing at the top. That's because most of the enemies spawn at the bottom at the start, but then the later enemies per loading screen, they only spawn in this area at the top. So that's why I stay there instead of staying in the middle and being closer to the destination.
So, how much of this run would you say is grinding? Like, total?
Okay, so it's about 20 minutes here, right? And then there's another grinding section that I won't really spoil it, but basically about an hour, right? So, you know, the grind total... Okay. If you're doing really good, it's like 55 minutes of grinding if you count both sections. So it's not that much. I mean...
Yeah, no. For an RPG-based game, that doesn't sound too bad. Well, I mean...
Yeah, see, we're also gonna skip a couple of things, you know? Let's just say that a new runner started running this on the glitchless category, so it's not going out of bounds like I did, and not gonna be skipping other stuff, and let's just say that they took about 4 hours, and I'm gonna take way less than that. I'll just say this for the time.
Oh,
I'll
no,
explain it better later.
The more glitches and out-of-bounds stuff, the better. I mean, it's in my name. I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, this game has tons of glitches. Like, you have the out-of-bounds, which I just performed. You have the animation glitch, which I'll perform later. It doesn't actually save time, but it's like, it doesn't waste time either, so you might as well. Just for the swag. You have the music skip, you have the 0 HP, you have the soft lock, which you won't see because I specifically stopped that. You have something else. Am I forgetting any glitches? I think that's about it. Oh, you have the other out-of-bounds that we can't perform in this version. You have a glitch on the PS2 version that messes with your movement. It's just great gameplay. Absolutely fantastic.
This is music to my ears.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got another donation in here. If you have I know you're working towards level 7, I think.
Yep. I've seen one more pass, so...
Fabulous. Well, I can sneak in one donation. We have our previous runner whose name I'm absolutely going to butcher, and I'm so sorry about it. Had Kai Name donates $5 saying, just want to, again, let me start that one over. Just again want to say thanks for having me. Good luck to the next few runners, and bless RNG for those charms.
Oh no. Okay, so the problem with the block dash is that sometimes you fail it, and when you do, instead of moving, you just stutter step and lose the time that you would save. And sometimes that happens. So it's a technique that you have to be wary of. I usually have more difficulty going up than any other direction. But that's just me personally. I don't know about other people. Again, it's Cypher Course 3 already. Give me a Brave Core. So, for a little bit of context, I said that the Brave Core is the best and you want to get it. The Brave Core costs $1,200 for us to buy, and each of those Cypher Cores is worth $290 for us to sell. So, wait, that should be pretty evident as to why we want to get the Brave Core straight away instead of getting 3 Cypher Cores that we're going to have to sell, which is not even enough money. I should also mention that the tech is really good. You can evaluate how much tech you get by your damage, and so far my damage has been going out pretty well. My mashing is bad, but RNG-wise, I'm getting the damage up, and that's really more important than anything else. I've had I said that I need 210. I've had runs in which by the end of level 5, I had 7 tech. Needless to say, that was a reset, but like, if that happened in the marathon, which is extremely rare, but if that happened, I'll be flipping out, not knowing what to do. Are you? Okay. So they have 74 HP. Now they should only take 5 hits, since we leveled up, and that increases of damage. Unless they block. I think we're gonna be able to skip doing some extra grinding with how good it's going. Because we're already on the 16 range. There's the enemies in the next room. So anyway, we're through. We're out of this room, and so we can go to the next room. Unfortunately, more enemies to kill here. Fortunately, we still need to kill some enemies, so instead of going back, we just move on and kill those obligatory and hope that it's gonna be enough to get our tech up. There's still more enemies coming up if we need to, but those are the last obligatory enemies before fighting the boss of this dungeon. At this point, I really don't care about getting hit. I already have 9 HP discs. I have a Cypher Core to improve my defense. Ooh, 1, 2... Okay, so, you know what, I'm gonna get that for safety. I said that tech increases the damage, right? So one thing that we could do would be to go to the menu and check how much tech we have to make sure that we have 210. Instead of that, however, I'm gonna look for dealing 17 damage, which I dealt already, and I'm gonna count 7 tech ups. I'm on 3 right now. Once I get those 7, I'll know 4, 5, 6... you know what, that's enough, let's deal with it. So I know that I'm probably at 208, 209, or most likely not at 210, but yeah, I should be fine, I'm not getting any more tech ups. So yeah, instead of wasting that time going to the menu to guarantee that my tech is right, I just look at my damage, count the tech ups, and now I know that I have 210, so I can just save a little bit of time. It's one of the most recent strategies. Now right here you're gonna see another crate that triggers another set of spawns. Ideally you just hit it once so that it breaks and then you prepare a charge attack and then Gaburimon guy doesn't hit me. Luckily it didn't. Sometimes... oh, never mind, I'm in the wrong spot. Sometimes it does. Here you see me making extensive use of the charge attack. Again, it's that same idea. Get the extra move speed while hitting those things from afar. We've got all of those, like when you should use the charge attack routed out. Especially from any percent max stats, because it's much faster. By the way, all of this area should be filled with enemies, but because I don't have to kill them, I just ignore the couple at the very beginning, and so it like cloggers the spawn cap, and so we're able to avoid it and just move on. So coming up right here, for those of you Gen 5 lovers, I present to you a certain Pokemon that you all love. I know that this is the Digimon franchise, but I'm gonna heal for safety. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Genesect. It's a bit skinny, I know, but trust me, it's Genesect.
Exactly as I remember, I think.
Okay, so this is a boss. Bad luck. Oh. Technically, it's the third boss of the run. Of the game, I'm sorry, but we kinda skipped the other two, which are actually way, way harder than this. So, you know. Oh, by the way, okay, so for every one of you Digimon lovers, you know that in every game, Leomon dies, right? So, in this one, we actually save Leomon, so he doesn't die, which means that the game is not canon, unless you don't play it. Because if you don't play it, you don't save Leomon, and so it dies, and then it becomes canon. So yeah, that's the gist of it. Don't worry too much about it. There's some story going on. It's not really that important. What is important is we're out of the grind section. What time is it right now?
We're at, presuming you mean what the timer is, we're at about 28 minutes and 50-ish seconds.
Oh, that's actually not that bad. Not bad at all. I'll definitely take that for a marathon run. Could have been better if I mashed right, but like for how bad it was, this is actually really, really good time. Anyways, we're back at the base. So now, basically what happened in the story was that Leomon said, hey, thanks for saving me, but my team of Digi-Elves is still out there, can you go rescue them? And we say, sure, but first we're gonna spend our paycheck on items. So here I'm just gonna assume that I got World Record RNG and go for everything. And I'm gonna cry when it doesn't happen. So, this split is called reset. The reason for that is if you don't get the money, you reset. Let's see what happens today. Remember, optimally we need 5 to 6 grand here. Doesn't look too good. Oh no! Okay, potato as always. I shouldn't be surprised. Right, so now is the moment where you improvise. Let's see. How many discs? Oh crap, I don't have any discs. We backup strats, let's go.
I believe in you. I think you got this.
Okay, so bare minimum is 1860 for a double rapier alpha with 1 mod. We would also want 1040. Nope. We would also want 1040 for a beast board. Now, you see that I just said that I want to get a double rapier, and I just looked at there, said nope, and went right away. So, thing is, the shop section, like, there's a whole bunch of double rapiers, but none of them have mods, and it is absolutely crucial that we get mods. And it's not even a matter of speed; it's a matter of you literally need them to finish the game. Like, the way that the game was designed, you would need a weapon with mods eventually, or you're literally not beating the game. And so I want to get one right now and just carry it through the rest of the game. Unfortunately, oh, there it is. Okay, phew, only took 1 reset. So every time you reset this area, each individual item on the shops gets its mod count rerolled. So we have to keep resetting until one that has mods and that we can afford shows up. This time around, it only took me 1 reset, but I think I have a stream highlight somewhere where it took me like 15, and so at that point I just stopped the run, but like, it was like, what, 7 minutes just going back and forth, hoping for a weapon, and none showing up. So yeah, this is actually pretty fine. We're gonna get rid of the stab dagger. We're gonna get rid of the crush because the crush arm is useless. So we're gonna unequip it now. And there we go. And then deposit that in the bank so that we can have more space for more items that we can sell later. But at any rate, say hello to the double rapier. Now, I was joking that the dagger was kind of bigger than most of my body. This is literally bigger than my whole body. Like, it is, like, just look at it. Just look at it. This is bigger than me. So it's like the cloud sword. Except it's a little bit skinnier. So yeah, right, now that we spend a little bit of money getting our paycheck and getting items, we're gonna go rescue the Digielves. Let's go to Death Valley again. I should mention that what I should coming out of, as well as the double rapier, I should have the Beast Board. I bought the Achilles because it's cheaper, not as good, but it's better than nothing. And I should also have a bunch of chips that increase my damage. So remember how before I was dealing like what, 17-ish? Yeah, with this weapon, the Beast Board, and the chips, if I had gotten it, I would skyrocket it to 60. So yeah. Because we don't have that, we're kind of going to go a bit slower than we should for the next couple of sections. But it's fine, at the very least we can keep the run going. It's not, for the sake of just finishing a run, it's not too terribly bad to just go out with a single double rapier, because we're going to go through a second grinding section later, and those enemies drop items that are worth a lot of money, and whatever we need, like, whatever we couldn't buy now, we will be able to buy later without too much of an issue. So it's not too bad to just leave it for later. It's just a little bit of a time loss for now. Anyways, to the left, the dungeon that I skipped. To the right, our destination. So I'm gonna kill these things in a very specific order. I'm gonna prepare a charge attack. 1, 2, block dash, and if everything works right, the Donkey Kong is gonna damage boost me in the direction I wanna go. Yes, perfect. What did that save? Probably a quarter of a second, but you might as well get everything. Now, normally I wouldn't get these codes, but because I'm short of money and items... Ooh, Brave Core! Nice! That is exactly what I was hoping for. So I couldn't get the Brave Core either, but now it's fine, because we have it. Again, the Brave Core is more important because it increases our speed, and speed increases accuracy. I'm gonna do this. Now this is Blossomon. This is actually the boss of the first dungeon, which is reused as a mini boss here. So you guys are not missing anything. Ah, that was scary. You know what? Normally this fight ends in 2 cycles, but because I don't have the proper items, I had to do 3. I'm gonna stay here just in case it drops something useful. And it didn't. Thank you, game. I should have kept my mouth shut. And now the boat section, the infamous boat section. So, this is an auto-scroller. On the PS2 version of the game, you can actually click out of it and just walk straight to the end. Unfortunately, we're playing the Gamecube, which is generally faster with the loads. But you can't do that specific clip in this version, so this just becomes an auto-scroller. However, you see, story-wise, there are 10 Digielves that you can save, and if you do, it each of them unlocks a different side quest. It is totally optional in casual play. However, in a speedrun, we absolutely 100% need to save one specific Digielf, which turns out to be the first one right there. 4, 5. There we go. And now that it's saved, I have nothing better to do, so I might as well kill these enemies for extra experience. It's very minimal, but as I said, auto-scroller, you don't have anything better to do. I could try clipping out of the boat, and if we did that in a marathon for the first time, great. But I wouldn't count on it, given that I've tried playing as a Taz for a long while and never got it, so... yay. So yeah, if you've got any questions, now is a great time to ask, because I don't have much better to do.
Oh, no worries. I heard the word auto-scroller, I'm like, well, I'm definitely on. I have donations. That sound right?
Yep.
Donation-wise, we have the lovely $100 donation from Colin, saying, great people, great cause. And as well, one more, and this is great because it ties into a prize, and I want to tell you all about that at some point too. Chris Wacky has donated $20, saying, looking forward to the Disgaea run and maybe getting that sweet Val plush. Good luck to the fire. Good luck to fire on the Digimon run. And that donation references the Valvatorez plush, which it has hidden from me now that I wanted to tell you all about it. That is behind a $20 donation. So if you're looking for a Valvatorez plush, which is made by the ever lovely, where did it go? Plush Man. That'll be $20, and that's live from now to the end of the Alliance Alive HD.
Unfortunately, because I don't have the Beast Board, these guys take one extra hit to kill, which slightly slows me down in terms of getting that little extra experience.
So what are these green things called that are kind of look like slimes but also frogs with the very large thumb?
They're called Numemon.
Okay.
I should mention the glitch, by the way. See how I'm like holding the rapiers kind of my shoulders like a very swag? That's an animation glitch. If you swap a double-handed weapon for another, it keeps the previous weapon's idle stance until you move. You're gonna see once the area loads that the way that I'm supposed to hold it is like one straight up and one straight forward. That's the usual way, but because I was using the shot pistol, it was a little bit different. It's just a small visual glitch, and because we have to swap weapons, you might as well just do it and not lose any time and just have fun. I call it this swag double rapier. Because, gotta name our strats.
It's also just a sense of style that's alive and well in this Digimon run.
Mm-hmm. Oops. Up. Alright, if you have to guess, for one, the name of the Digimon showed up in the cutscene, but that chicken is Kokatsurimon. And a fun tidbit, that area is actually shaped like a ship. Remember the ship from Season 1 where you fought that chicken? Where the retainers fought the chicken? Yeah, it's shaped like that as a cool Easter egg reference. Don't know if you guys noticed, it was very brief. Anyways, this is Zone Base. Yeah. So right here, I said that I would want to have a chip that would skyrocket my damage. Actually, that would be bad, because just like I said with the Numemon at the very beginning of the game in the tutorial, two-hitting enemies is really bad because they go through huge periods of invincibility, and you have to wait for them to get up before you can finish them off. So even if I did get the fundamental, which I normally would, I would purposefully take it off to reduce the damage and make sure that I would 3-shot enemies instead of 2-shotting, so that I can go 1-2, 1-2, they're dead, instead of 1, wait, a bit longer, okay, now I kill him. It's going to be a strat that's going to come up in various places, and this is actually the first one where it's prominent. Because now we do have, in theory, we have gear, we have chips, we can tailor our stats to match whatever we need. So you can see how fast these guys die if I just land the hits. 1, 2, dead.
Now, is that that yellow graphic on them? Is that them blocking? Is that it, or?
Correct. When you block, it's green slash green while it's blocking, and red once it connects. When enemies block, it's yellow. You can see right there the red thing shows up. That's the game blocking for me. Ooh, Cypher Code, that's good. That is worth quite a bit of money. And that was actually really clean. Not bad at all. If we didn't get the Brave Core out of those crates, the Ogremon here and the area have potential to drop it. Obviously, I don't need it anymore, so if I get in the Brave Core, I'll just sell it later. but if I still needed that, I can get it off of them. Additionally, the yellow poop thingy, which are called Sukamon, they can drop the beast board that I was not able to buy. And while it's not particularly an item that I would want to get, since I don't have the fundamental, they can potentially drop a fire metal, which will increase speed, the boss fight a little bit. You normally wouldn't get that because the fundamental is way better, but since we don't have that, getting the fire chip is better than nothing, so let's hope for that. Also, okay, for my lovely host, what would you think those things are?
These little bat things?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call them Batmon. Wait, I get it. It's a joke.
Yeah, see, they're not actually Digimon.
Oh, they're just bats?
Yes, they're just a virus. The actual name is Mecharogue01. So...
Well, that's against the rules that you told me earlier about putting Mon at the end of everything, but okay.
Well, no, I said that if you want to know the name of a Digimon, you just put the thing and then Mon. But they're not Digimon, so that technically doesn't count.
Fair enough.
I should mention that one of the reasons that people don't like this game is that 2/5 of the enemy variety is actually not even Digimon. So, yeah, there's that. Can we get the beast board? Yes! Yes! We're slowly getting back on track. I'm not gonna equip it right now. Thank you. Now drop me a fire metal. Drop me a fire metal. Normally I would be standing next to the door and preparing charge attacks, but because we don't have all the money that we should, I'm staying behind just to make sure that I collect as much loot as possible. It is losing me a little bit of time, but if I get the loot, it's better. So just go for it. Oops. So when trying to kill these guys, try to hit multiples of them at once so that you can kill them as fast as possible. You could either kill them individually like I'm doing right now, or stay in the middle, wait for them to group up, and then kill them. It turns out it's like a couple of seconds faster to do it like this. I know it doesn't seem like it. It would seem as if grouping them up and killing them all at once is faster, but it's actually not. Because for one, why are you standing still killing one enemy? The others are already coming after you, so you don't have to walk anyway. And two, because sometimes you crit them, and when you crit them, it goes over the 2-hit threshold that I've mentioned, and so they go through the period of knockback. So you can't just, most of the time, you can't just clear an entire wave. You clear, like, 4 of them, and then one of them survives, and you have to wait anyway. Here are the Ogremon. Ooh, that's lightning. Alright, if I suddenly disappear, it's because there's lightning going on right now. Don't worry about it. Just a little bit of adrenaline in the marathon. Don't worry about it.
I have high hopes that you are safe from said lightning.
My PC probably is. My internet, I don't think so. Ooh, that's a 9. Okay. Item despawn after a little while, but if I kill these guys fast enough, I should be able to make it. I'm gonna get this. Yeah, I should be able to make it, no problem. By the way, that can happen. If you fall, you don't die, you just respawn with 1 HP on the other side. It's been a while since I've done that. Again, I'm gonna stay behind. Ooh, go for it. Neat. Alright. So, boss fight. What you're supposed to do here is that there are 5 iron barbed balls, octagons, decahedrons, or whatever the mathematical shape of the thing is. And there are 5 of them, and you have to hit each one 10 times to unlock the next phase of the boss. But that's dangerous, and more importantly, that's slow, so we're not gonna do that. Instead, we're gonna go to the menu to equip the beast board before I forget. Where's the beast board? There we go. And we're gonna do this. Okay. I should mention that you can predict his attack patterns, and I have to focus. I can't explain right now. I'm sorry. Oh, that's bad. Oops. Okay, I'm sorry for being a little bit quiet, but this boss has a legit chance to kill me, so I had to focus a little bit. We're gonna go through a bunch of story now, so I can try to explain what was going on. It has 3 attacks. The first one, oh, there's the fire metal. The first one, it spins around and shoots a bunch of flames, that's fine. The second one, it summons those chains, which can either just chomp once, or chomp and then rotate around. And the last attack, he can lunge forward and do a freeze with his hands, like he's throwing a freeze wave. And that one is the most dangerous one. So what you're supposed to do is destroy those balls, and Apoc will leave the center of the arena and just start chasing you around and doing all sorts of nasty stuff. That's bad. Instead, we just walk up to it and just hit him, and the thing dies. What would prevent this is the electrical floor. That's a trap, and that deals copious amounts of damage. However, if you time right destroying the balls, you can make it so that one of the floors is on while the other is off. So you can just keep juggling around like I did, and just stay there hitting. Now, it is dangerous because if you attack him, it resets its pattern for the next attack it's going to do. So if you don't hit him again fast enough, it'll probably just do the freeze attack and deal most of your life in a hit, which is very dangerous. So that's why I had to focus and couldn't explain. I'm sorry, but we're through, so that's great. So, story time. We defeated a Pokemon, which is great. And then everybody is congratulating us, tapping the shoulder, great job, and then our base is under attack. And the virus goes, rawr. And then we go, oh, we're back, and the virus is rawr. So it's like, right, we need to defend ourselves. So what we do is we just come to a couple of places, flip a couple of switches, and ask for Dad to save us. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing right now.
So a little anticlimactic there. It sounds.
I know, right? Everyone wished that enemies would spawn in your base, because like you can't attack or block in the base. You can only move and jump. I would really like if the game allowed, like, spawned a bunch of enemies and then you had to do, like, the tower defense style of mission or something. It would be really good. Speed tech right here, you can either go down right or keep the path that I'm taking. Because I'm playing an emulator, it's faster to play it this way that I'm going right now. Whereas if I was playing in a Wii, it would be faster to take the other way. The reason for that is, the other way goes through 2 load screens, and on the console that's a little bit faster, whereas this way is longer but only goes through 1, and on emulator it's better. Do I need to buy healing? I don't know. I should be fine, So yeah, I'm gonna stop here by the chip shop, sell all of the stuff that I collected. Normally I wouldn't do this in a world record attempt, because I wouldn't even collect stuff to begin with. I would just have the money straight away. But because I didn't, I'm gonna have to sell stuff now. Ooh, nice! A long sword! Normally a long sword is worth 35, but as you can see, it's worth 3,000. That's because it has 4 mods. So basically our money is set for the rest of the run. Buy the fundamental, because I need that. Buy the dark metal. Eat chip. This. Yeah, we should be fine. So yeah, now I have all the items that I should, and we're basically on pace with a perfect RNG run. In terms of items. So yeah, this area right here, a bunch of stuff going on. The first one is, there's a skip here. If you clear the last text box frame perfectly, the music stops. So if the music doesn't stop, you know that I played like a potato and didn't do things frame perfectly. Let's see. You have to hit them in the specific order. And... Hey! Enjoy the silence.
Beautiful job. It's really just like deafening silence that's going on and a little like blip every now and then for text.
And other music's back. Okay, so another fun thing, you know how we just switched that pod and Seraphimon just came out to the rescue, right? Except that if you were to use the free look camera and look inside the pod through hacking, Seraphimon isn't actually there until you clear that text box. The game only loads the model once you clear that out. So, really? Like, if you know that it's a bit anticlimactic, but... oh well. Most important prompt of the game, this is the only time in the entire game where we're gonna have to select down when going to the area we want. I usually remember it, but sometimes I forget and go to Death Valley like an idiot, and that's like a whole bunch of time to get, like, 30 seconds to get out of Death Valley and then go to the right place. And this is the only time in the entire game we have to do it. That's why sometimes I forget. What else should I mention? So, this is dry land. As you can see, it's a desert. And there are mummies. What would you say the name of those mummies are?
I feel like I have to preface the answer with like the question of, are these Digimon or not?
Yes, they are. They are official Digimon that actually showed up in Season 2 of the anime for the people that have watched it.
Okay. Okay, let's go with, Yumimon.
Mummymon, correct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, right here you're gonna see me do a charge attack there. That's because there are some rocks that I need to clear, and I just do it from afar, same thing as always. Just ignore everything. The reason why we want to come here is because this is the best grinding spot of the game, and every casual realizes this on his own. I'm gonna stop and equip a dark metal. I could equip the Thunder Chip because it deals way more damage, however it would deal so much that it would trigger those enemies to be 2-hit KO'd, and that is bad, so instead we equip the dark metal, which does increase our damage, but not too much that we go over the threshold. These enemies are resistant to the dark, that's why we use dark specifically, instead of thunder. Now the reason why this place is so good is because, you see that tower right there? Yeah. As long as that thing is alive, that obelisk, 110 of those scorpion things will keep spawning. It's not unlimited, there is a cap, but, you know, like, look how fast I'm, I mean, how fast relatively speaking, because I'm still kind of weak and they're still blocking me, but like, look, just killing enemies pretty quickly. And I don't have to go to a low screen, I don't have to move around, I just kill them. And that's why we're going to be staying here for about 45-ish minutes. So, if anyone needs a bathroom break, now's the time. If anyone needs to go out shopping for bread or something, maybe get a slab of cheese, now's the time.
You know, like a bathroom break, balance your checkbook, do your taxes kind of break.
Yep. There are things to explain throughout the grind, but I'll just let everyone take a quick break until about level 11, and I'll explain more stuff then.
Well, I can fill some time if you'd like.
Yeah, perfect.
So, y'all are here on the RPG Limit Break channel, watching, I'm not gonna mess up the name, Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing. And you're wondering what we're doing here, aside from watching fabulous speedruns by Fire1520. we are here benefiting NAMI. What is NAMI? I have the answer. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around 3 pillars: education and support, awareness, and advocacy. And your next question is clearly, what does that mean? Well, let's just go with advocacy for now. NAMI engages in federal advocacy and supports NAMI state organizations in their state-level advocacy efforts. So get your donations in. We have lots of lovely prizes. We're almost at level 11, so I'm going to sneak in one more information about a prize, because we have prizes that end with this run. And, well, one specific prize that ends with this run, which I'm going to push, and that's the Barks and Gilgamesh charms. And why is this cool? It's a $5 donation and gets you 2 separate charms. It looks like specifically themed after the World of Final Fantasy ones, of Barks and Gilgamesh. And this is donated by the lovely, kind and nerdy housewife. And now, I assume we're going to be at level 11 very shortly, so I'm going to throw it right back to you.
Yep. So, these are... There we go, nice timing. These enemies right here have 125 health, so that means that the most damage that we can do, to still be in the 3-shot range, is 62. Now at level 11, with the Beast Boar and the Dark Metal, initially, we should be fine. We should be way over that, but as we keep grinding, our attack keeps going up, which means that our damage keeps going up. And so eventually, I'll start dealing too much damage. So midway through the grind, you see that I'm gonna purposefully remove the Dark Metal, precisely to decrease my damage and still keep in the 3-shot range. Looks like it's not just yet. Still doing 59, 61, 62. I'm on the verge, but as soon as I start doing too many 63s and 64s, I'm gonna swap it out. I should also mention that the way that the game works is that it's based off of damage ranges. So you have a base, and we actually do have a damage formula, so... Okay, fine. So we calculate our base, and then we plus or minus 5%, that's the range of damage that we can do. So there is some variation in it.
I gotta... Sorry. I gotta...
I was gonna say... okay, and I'll take it on, I'll keep explaining. So, as I said before, there are a maximum of 110 enemies per obelisk. If you kill the last one, it's gonna blow up, and we're gonna lose the perfect grinding spot. So we're gonna have to quit the game and restart, and that takes like 2 minutes. So obviously we don't want to do that. You can know when it's running out, when enemies stop spawning. And I should mention that back in Questing for Glory, the first one, back in 2017, you see, I ran this game, and things happened. So yeah, chat, you can take 2 sides of, like, there are 2 factions that you can take. The first one is count each and every single enemy that I kill, so then when I get close to the spawn cap, and I should change my phone, by the way. When I get close to the spawn cap, you warn me so that I don't mess up. And the other faction that you can take is that you can try to interact with us and distract me so that I blow up and we spend longer here. So take your side.
You know, I
did it in 2017. I believe in you guys' ability to do it again. Or not, I don't know.
That's a tall order for both sides, and you know what? I'll let chat pick whatever they want on that. You know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so I should mention about that equipment swap real quick. Again, as I said, I'm removing the Dark Metal because it will deal too much damage. And since we have a mod slot and nothing better to use, we might as well just equip a speed chip that will marginally increase accuracy. We don't really have anything better to do with it, so might as well. We could put HP drain, but really we don't need that. We could put MP drain, but we don't need that right now either. I would rather just have as much accuracy as possible to kill enemies as fast as possible. So that's why we use that. Should I do that? Yeah, I should. So, I should explain how long we're going to be grinding. We need to grind up until level 22. The reason for that is because we need a new spell technique, which is locked behind that level. So at level 12, we learn a technique called Petit Power Down. Basically what it does is that it decreases enemies' defense, which means that it's a debuff that makes us kill them faster. Perfect technique for a speedrunner. Problem is, it starts out pretty weak. It only gives at best a 10% buff. However, if we train that technique to the native version, it basically explains why Gamecube is the best Digimon in the game. Well, in the family of best Digimon in the game. The other reason comes a little bit later. So that's basically why we grind in this particular spot. For one, lots of enemies. For two, great experience. But for three, I can get those 5 enemies that spawn from the obelisk right now, plus the 6 Mudmon to my right, group them together and debuff all of them at once, and greatly speed up the process of increasing the strength of my debuff techniques. That's why I grind in this spot. There are other towers in this area, like the one at the beginning which we skip because it only spawns 4 enemies at a time, and that's slow. And there's one to the left of this area, but because it doesn't have the Mudmon to the right, it doesn't help with training the debuff. So we stay in this specific spot. As a benefit, these enemies can only drop cores, which are worth between 200 something-ish and 390. So we're gonna fill our inventory with those and rake up a lot of money.
I love little grinding areas in RPGs like this because this looks like a really satisfying grind. Maybe a little mashy, but very satisfying.
Honestly, even though it's twice as long as the first grinding section, it feels much better because not only are you killing things faster, you have a much better weapon, like in regards to the hitbox. The hitbox of the dagger is atrocious. It's probably the worst weapon in the game. But this thing attacks fast, has a big range, enemies left and right. It's just great. I love this grinding section. It's really fun.
Yeah, that early grind seemed terrifying. Like, if those things got too close to you.
And there's also the fact that by this point in time, if you're here, you have a run. Like, there are things that could kill you later, but generally speaking, you have a run. Whereas in the first grinding section, you're like, even if you do amazing and get a perfect gold, you might not have the money and have to reset. It's like, if this was a world record attempt, I would have reset because I didn't have the money. Yeah, and I forgot to mention, conveniently, in addition to all of those points that I've mentioned before, there is a dungeon literally right next to the tower, so that when you need to refresh the counter, just go in, get back out, and you're ready to go once again, very quickly and very efficiently.
And you said if you destroy the tower, it stays gone, or?
It does indeed.
Ooh,
there are 2 ways to blow it up. One of them is through killing all of the enemies, and the other is to actually attacking the tower. It blows up in 2 hits.
Oh gosh. Yeah, don't accidentally do that, sounds like. Do you have a backup if that happens?
It depends. If it happens at the very beginning, reset the game, which means get out of here, save, quit the game, reload the save, and get back to the 0. It takes about 2 minutes. If it's towards the very end of it, I can just kind of brute force the other tower to the left, Obviously, it's not as fast, but it's better than having to reset the whole game just for 1 round of grinding. It depends on when. If I blew it up right now, I'd definitely reset. Reload the game.
Oh, I got you.
In fact, fun trivia. I have a save posted on speedrun.com for people that want to practice another category, any percent max stats, in which you use a pre-generated save file. And in that save file is actually the backup save that I had to do in the middle of the first Questing for Glory, because I blew it up. So I had to go out and make a save, and eventually when I made the category later, I just used that. So if you want to see when I stop, you can go out there and download the thing, if you really wanted to.
You can re-experience a part of history. At least Questing for Glory history.
Uh-huh. Right now you won't, like, even if it happens you won't see, because I did another marathon and had to overwrite the save file, so you'll see a different one. If it happens, hopefully it won't. But in the very odd scenario where it does, yay.
As we're grinding away, I can throw a donation in there to pass the time with everybody. Well, I'll just roll with that. It looks like we have a $2 donation from an anonymous donor. Thank you very much, saying there's no better way to end a day of work than kicking back with an RPG speedrunning marathon. Much love to the runners and volunteers.
I guess I should mention this, but you might see that I'm not actually attacking enemies straight. Like, I'm not in direct line of sight. I'm staying... Like, because of the hitbox is actually on the right arm, so I kind of have to go in an off angle to hit them. It is a very marginal change, but once you get used to the weapon, you realize that, like, each one of the weapons actually has its own hitbox, and you have to line things up properly to get the 2 hits. That's why, like, I'm not going straight at enemies, but it's like at an off angle. Is enough? Another thing that I am doing right now is that I am collecting those items. As I said, we're gonna need to grab all of them to sell later. However, because we're gonna be spending so long in this area, it's not like, see that one right there? It's not worth going for it. It's out of my way. Like, why would I go out there to pick it up? I might as well just stay in the middle, and once something dies, like right now, I am right here, then I pick it up. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you save a second on every weapon by just picking things on your way instead of moving to get them, like right there, that's a perfect item. I'm literally right there, I didn't waste any time. Over the course of the run, it adds up. Quite a lot. So I'm gonna pause right here, 60, okay. So, I said a little bit earlier that I needed to get a bunch of enemies together and spam the debuff technique, and I'm clearly not doing that, so what's going on? Well, what's going on is that the best, you could just do that right then and there, it would be fine. However, it is more efficient if you just do it all kind of at once. If we had unlimited money, we would leave it for later, but because we don't, the strat is get just about ready to level up. So like 1 or 2 enemies away. Once you're ready to do that level up, then you group up the enemies and spam them out, kill one, refuel your mana, and then you're ready to go again. That saves a little, and like they're already going to be grouped up. That saves a little bit of time. Actually a lot of time instead of doing it at every level. 10. So I'm gonna stay quiet and count enemies, because I just looked at my experience and now I know how many I need to kill before getting to a level up. So I'm gonna be ready to do that.
my question to you, briefly, is while you're concentrating on counting, can I talk to the audience?
Yep. Don't
Okay.
expect a response from me, but yes, you can.
Oh,
Feel
no
free
worries.
to download the stream.
I stream. I can tell you about some prizes and bid wars coming up. I mentioned bid wars earlier. We talked about Disgaea, which my bid war page has escaped me at the moment, so 2 seconds. Alright. So, we are in the middle of Digimon World 4, which means we'll go with the next game coming up, Disgaea 4 Complete. We have a bunch of things you can bid to see. One of the 4 goals are met, so we're going to see the God ending fight, which is cool. There is an epilogue option. We can see what is Valvatore's like best. And that's got only one bid in there, so we can definitely get some action going inside of that. There are options as well. We do want to see the max damage showcase, which, from what I understand, the digits go up to 18. So if we want to see 18 whole digits on the screen, that's definitely the way we're going to do that. And looks like we still need just a little bit more to fight Ball. But hey, Disgaea 4 is not your jam, that's okay. We've got other games coming up. We've got the Alliance Alive, which has a bunch of different donation incentives you can donate to. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different character option incentives. Looks like 3 of them are still up for grabs. But $5, $2, you can name a character after yourself. As well, it looks like 2 of them are, you know, maybe this game doesn't have enough party members and we want another. There's another incentive to recruit Matilda to the party, because why would you not want more party members? And then this is still a bit in the distance. We've got Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, which we can bring a Mothman to the final fight. If that's something you want to see, there's an ending bid war. And as well, you can always you can bid to name the main character. So get your donations in, give me something to read to you, and enjoy the marathon too.
Alright, so as you've seen, kill a couple of enemies, got to 16, emptied my mana pool, and that way we stack the levels and make things better. We want to stack from an odd level to an even level, so we're gonna do 15 and 16 together, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 21 and 22 is gonna be our final. You're also, like, the cunning of you might have realized that something is odd, because I said that I get the technique at level 12, and yet I only started using it at level 15. So what's going on? Turns out that you don't actually need your entire MP bars to do it. You can usually make do starting at a later level. And in fact, I even started early for the sake of a marathon. In a world record attempt, I would only start doing this at 17, but that is a little bit risky if I get unlucky, and unfortunately I don't have the MP discs to fix it in this run, so I decided to play it a little safe. Also helps that at later levels your mana pool is much bigger, so like you end up getting much more out of your money, out of every stack. Now I'm being very cautious to not blow up the tower, because it should be running short soon. I am doing things a little bit slower than I could, just to make sure that I don't do that.
If chat believes, the tower will persevere.
Good to know. Come on, run out already. I want to refresh the counter. Okay, so I said you shouldn't go out of your way to pick items, but that blue thingy is called a keychain, and those are pretty rare, and you're not necessarily going to be full of it by the end. So, and they're also worth a lot of money. So it's a good idea to go out of your way to pick those specifically. So yeah, we didn't blow up the tower, so we're gonna be fine.
We're getting through that grind. We're at level 16. 22 is where we're headed, right?
Correct. We don't have to grind through 22. We just need to reach it, spam a couple of the debuff techniques for a little bit, and then we're good. I should also mention that I'm not hitting these enemies randomly, even though it might feel like it. You might notice that I'm staying specifically towards the lower and middle part of it. That is because standing at the lower side allows us vision to see, like because of the camera angle, allows us to see the entirety of the grind, with the exception of the one at the bottom, but I've got experience and kind of know where it's gonna walk, so I can just do that quickly. Staying in the middle makes it so that things follow you around, and so you don't have to waste time going to places, like going all over the place to just kill enemies, or just kind of stay here, and everything works. Additionally, each time I'm hitting an enemy, I check how many hits I did so that I can position myself accordingly. So for instance, if I did 2 hits on one enemy, I know that I can get away with just doing one more and finishing it off, so I don't have to get as close to make use of the double hitboxes. Where I'm gonna have to walk a little bit closer to hit him twice. Additionally, while I am hitting one enemy, I am checking to see if I accidentally hit another, and if so, that should be my priority, because that one is already at lower HP value and thus it's easier to kill. Like right there. I know that these two are dead, and so you're constantly playing one step ahead. Which is the one that you're gonna kill? To try and make it as fast as possible. And if you can, try to stack hits, like hitting multiple enemies is good. Don't stop just to group them up because it's slower, but while you're killing, try to position yourself so that you make the most use out of your hitbox.
I'll say every time you swing the swords like anywhere near the tower, I get this sense of terror to just wave over me.
So do I. I do have one hit of lenience. I can make one mistake and hit it once, and we'll be fine. If I hit it once, then I'll start playing safe and getting the hell away from it. But for now, in the name of speed, if there's an enemy there, we're killing it.
Now, if you hit it once and went inside, would it reset its health bar?
I'm sorry?
If you hit the tower once and then went into that dungeon and backed out, does it still have 1 hit point after you get out, or?
No, it refreshes.
Well, that's good at least.
So long as the tower isn't completely dead, it fully restores upon reload of the area.
It's a small mercy. This grind sort of reminds me of East 2, where there's this person complaining about monsters or sounds in their basement, and you go down there and investigate, and there's just literally a wall you knock down, and monsters literally never stop coming out of it. So you just kind of tape down the magic button on your controller and walk away for a little while, and you'll level up a bunch.
Okay, so big mistake. I thought I was a little bit on a different spot on the experience curve grind thingy. So I leveled up on 17 instead of doing the stack. That's fine and no big deal. Oops. We're just gonna stack 18 to 19 because later on, you're gonna get one level per pass. So because I got a level up on the previous pass, I just assumed that I wouldn't get one. I'm sorry, because I did get one at the very beginning of this pass, I just assumed that I wouldn't get another, and that kind of distracted me. That's alright, no big deal. We still have plenty of NP, I think, I hope, to get attack ups.
While this grind is going on, we remind you we are raising money for NAMI, and we don't have a donation for you at the moment, but you can definitely change that. That exclamation mark donate command in chat, you can donate to a really, really wonderful cause.
I should mention that the purple sludge thing goes in you, and that's kind of annoying because it deals damage in ticks, and it's about 80% of your health. Not well for these enemies anyway, which is bad. So we're gonna avoid that. Also, I'm gonna pause right here. Okay, 14. It's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Now, while we wait for those enemies to spawn and follow us around, I'm also checking these items because they're potentially worth just as much as the cores. Sometimes they aren't, so that's why I'm not picking them up immediately, but if they're worth just as much, I can pick them up instead.
I do like this big procession you have with you now. This is wonderful.
There's actually a time. You can't just spam as fast as you want. Like, there's a cooldown. And it turns out that you can just about move it. Like, the amount that I'm moving is just about right. Like, right there. This is as fast as I can do it while standing still. So you might as well just use, move, and readjust, because the scorpions obviously walk faster than the mummies, so you kind of have to juggle them around, otherwise they get out of the group. Now you can see that the tech is already doing stuff. Like, we're doing upwards of 100 damage to them, whereas the ones without the power down we're doing what? 55-ish? So it's already doubling our offensive capabilities. But don't you worry, because it's gonna be even better.
This will just keep going up, probably.
Correct. Unfortunately, there is a cap. If there wasn't a cap, damn, it would have been ridiculous.
So we're grinding here to 22. Like, what level would you normally be when you get here?
In a speedrun, as you've seen, I get here at level 9. You could technically get it lower, but it's just faster to not do so.
Yeah, I mean, like,
casually speaking,
yeah.
yeah, I was just about to say, casually speaking, you usually fight that boss at level between 12 and 15-ish, depending on how hard of a time you have. So yeah, you should reach this area about that level. About 13, 14, maybe 15. Perhaps even 16 if you really struggled. I think it's gonna be obvious, but we're gonna be pretty under-leveled at the end of the game. Cause like, you can judge by the equipment that they drop, right? At the end of the game, it's gonna be dropping equipment for level 37-ish, so I guess the game expects you to be at around the level, give or take, right? Definitely not gonna get there. Definitely not gonna get there.
Now, do you have to be the level of the equipment to wear the equipment?
For armor pieces and for armor and sub-slots, yes. For weapons, it's tech, although there's a cap of tech per level, so in a sense, yes, it's related to your level as well.
Interesting. So you have a much stronger weapon, theoretically, than you're supposed to.
Correct. I could, even in the context of a speedrun, I would have the tech to get a weapon upgrade. So, the game works in families of weapons. So I have the Double Rapier Alpha, A. We have the Double Rapier Beta, B. We have the Double Rapier Gamma, which is a Y shape. Don't worry about it. Then we have the Double Rapier Delta, which I kind of think it's the weird G shape-ish. Can't describe it. And then there's Double Rapier Epsilon, which looks like an E. Trust me when I say that it kind of looks like that. Each one of them requires a higher amount of tech, which means a higher level. Even in the context of a speedrun, I could equip the Double Rapier Gamma, which is the third version. However, it's we're not going to do that. Because I should explain why, right? Because even though I could get it, for one, I would need it to have the money for it, which generally you don't have the spare. You have just about enough. And for two, you would need one which has mods. And you've already seen that I had a little bit of trouble getting it off at the very beginning, and that's because there were like, what, 16 of them in the shop? And there's only going to be 3. Well, it's going to be a lot harder to get one. So that's why it's not worth it. Additionally, even if all of those stars aligned, you'd still have to waste a whole bunch of time going out of your way through a whole bunch of extra loading screens just to equip the thing. And while, yes, it would save time, if you just consider the optimal perfect run in terms of RNG, it wouldn't save that much to be worth it. It would obviously make getting a great run a lot easier, but it's just not feasible. Like, when the game wasn't as optimized, I used to do it sometimes, but nowadays I don't even bother.
I see we're level 20. I can squeeze in a donation here if you'd like.
Yep. Still a ways to get. I'm not gonna stack in this pass. I'll need at least a loading screen.
Fabulous. Well, We have an anonymous donation for $20 saying, money to charity plus a chance for a Valvatore's plushie? What's not to love? So, people seem to really like this Valvatore's plushie. I actually don't know what this character is, so I'm going to do a quick Google search for my own use. And I've spelled this name wrong. Here we go. This looks like Laharl, but I've never played this guy before. And if the word prize is super interesting to you, we got more. We have the Bart's and Gilgamesh charms, which are ending after this run. I think this is the last run you can donate and get those. It is a $5 amount to be eligible for it. And it's a set of 2 charms for both Bart's and Gilgamesh. The 2 main characters, probably. Okay, so I know I delivered that very cleanly, but I know Gilgamesh is not a main character, but still.
It should have been.
Yeah, like Gilgamesh in the party, let's go. It's about time.
Oof, I see 357 dropped frames. That's not good. It's not 0.
That's okay. You can say it all happened at once, basically, and it hasn't in a while.
Yeah, internet's not been very fun lately. Sometimes things take like 30 seconds to load, and then it works fine, and then it doesn't. 8, 9, 10. Okay, so as you might have seen me stop by an item and not pick it. That's because I'm already full. Well, my inventory is full. There's a limit on how many you can take, and I've already hit that. Oh. Anyway, so now I don't need to worry about picking them up.
So I'm super confident you mentioned this earlier, and maybe it's my own memory here. Like, why are we debuffing everything? Just like tech ups, or? Yes.
We want to increase our force stack because we need 631 points to upgrade it to the next level. And each time we see a tech up, we're closer to that value. The more enemies you have, the more chances you have to get a tech up on each cast. And the more force stack that you get, well, not only does it get you closer to increasing the technique to the next level, also strengthens the power of the technique. So that's why at the very beginning I was only doing like a little bit of extra damage, and now my damage is about doubled. Actually, even more than that. It's probably gonna be, I don't know, even the half, maybe? And this is the most efficient way to do it. We could have more enemies on screen at once, but we can't really lure them effectively. Just do this and it's faster. For a speedrun. Also, you might have noticed that some of the mummies are really fast. If you hit if you deal enough damage to them, they activate turbo mode, and then all hell breaks loose. Like right now, mummies are chasing me. So yeah, as you can see, 140-ish damage versus 60. So yeah, doing pretty good.
The excitement amounts.
Yep. We'll still need to reload this area one more time to get enough experience to get to 22, but it shouldn't be too bad.
I will say at this point I'm going to be super excited to see this tower not exist anymore.
That's technically not gonna happen. I mean, I guess I could go out of my way to blow it up, but
just have a solo. Oh, okay. You know what?
Yeah, it's because it's not gonna blow up by the end of it. I
Fine.
think. Unless chat distracts me really hard right now. So chat, give me your best emotes. One character only. Alrighty. It's gonna blow up. I know it. I'm getting distracted.
You can get that safety reset, or is that just not a?
At this
not
point,
the
it's
right
not
way?
worth it. Yeah, at this point, it's not worth it. I have a. If I need experience, I have a backup to the left. And if I needed the tech, I can just go back to the beginning of the game with all of those Digimon and spam it there. Because I don't think I have empty discs, do I? Because that's Xylem, but... Ah, I have a little bit. Actually, never mind. We're fine. There we go, we should be getting an upgrade shortly. Again, quick reminder, whenever you go through a loading screen, try to do a block dash to get a little bit of extra move speed while waiting for the prompt to come up. Saves a little bit of time, like right there. Move a little bit, tap down twice, just saves a couple of frames. Free time save. We will use the block dash later for other purposes, but for now that's all it really does. Up, frozen. Should be fine.
Wait, these things can poison you?
Yeah, the purple sludges on the ground, if you touch them, they can poison you. There's actually a hidden value in the game's stats, which is poison resistance. I mean, I know that the guide says that the enemies have them, and so far the guide has been mostly accurate, so I believe that it is a thing. And it says that you have that too, but you can't see it. So it's not guaranteed that you'll get poisoned.
Ah, okay. Well, so you've been
And most of the time you do.
so impressed at dodging for the past like 40-ish minutes, just not getting hit by the poison.
It actually happened early.
Hey, we're 22. We made it.
Alright. We don't need it any more experience. All we need is to see that petite power down Once it changes to Mega, we got this. We have until our MP runs out to get it. There we go. So I'm just gonna spam it for a little bit extra. And remember that I was doing like what? 60-ish damage? Yeah, now I'm doing 300, so here we go. End of the grind section. This is the reason why we pick Gilmon. If you pick Gilmon, you use this technique and your damage is multiplied by 5. No, well, outside of Digimons that also have power down, no other Digimon can do that. Basically, you pick Gilmon, you're going not 5 times as fast, but you're killing enemies 5 times as fast, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's
the only reason why it's 5 is because there's a cap. There's a limit on how strong the power down can, how much the power down can increase their defense. Because if there was no cap, it would be more like 9 times the amount of damage, which would be ridiculous. Anyhow, yeah, so you see that I went through all that grind and now I'm back to base. What I'm gonna do is, first off, I'm gonna go here and sell everything. Actually, I kind of messed up that menu. Yeah, you should start with the right page, because right after selling, you're gonna be buying, ooh, nice, mods. You're gonna be buying an item and you're gonna be equipping it, and by selling the things to the second page instead of the first one, you make sure that that thing that you buy is the first item on the second page, so it speeds up the menu ever so slightly to equip it. A very minor optimization, but you might as well go for it. I will sell the rest of the stuff later, but like, I'll have to do it on the selling section anyway, so might as well delay them to get a little bit of extra optimization. There we go. Buy. Okay, no particularly amazing luck, that's alright. I'm gonna get the Brave Code Beta. We could stop by the shop to look for a weapon, but it's just not worth it. And now, for the rest of the game, our entire money is gonna go towards one thing. Buying MP discs to sustain the amount of MP that the power down technique consumes. It is insane. Like, each cast eats away 100 of our MP. So we can only do so much. Now, more important things to explain. Remember how I said that we needed to save one very specific Digielf? Well, the reason for that is that Digielf unlocks a side quest. And now you might want to say, okay, but why do you want a side quest? Well, see, thing is, that side quests mostly take place at the very last area of the game. And the reason why this shouldn't be broken is because if you go through to this last area through a side quest, you spawn the lower level, whereas you need to get access to the upper level to be able to move on with the story. You can kind of see where this is going. So normally this should be fine. Except that the game developers didn't know that there's one particular glitch called the double jump. Normally we can't do that, but we're speedrunners. We figure out the stuff that they can't. So basically, you see me tackling. This is a very hard trick. We could be here for a couple of seconds, or we could be here for 10 minutes. Let's hope it's the seconds. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, so it might have looked like nothing happened, but let me explain to you what is actually going on. So first, I have to jump to get the first jump going, right? One frame after I start the jump, so I need to spend one frame in the air, I need an enemy to hit me. So already we're starting off with a frame perfect trick that relies on the AI RNG, like, is it moving towards you, against you, is it turning, is it not, what is it doing? So there's already that. After that, you need an RNG roll for the game to auto block. So like, when you get hit without blocking, the game gives you a chance to block by itself without you actually triggering the block. And that is RNG, and in this circumstance, it's unfavorable. It's about a 30% chance. So already, frame perfect, AI RNG, then 30% RNG roll, and after all of that, you still have to press the jump button again exactly 18 frames later. So that's the second frame perfect trick. And all of that has to align for you to double jump. So that's why it can take a couple of seconds, or it could take 10 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, to this date I still get really excited whenever I pull it off. What is our time, by the way?
Our time right now is about 1:48.
Okay, not gonna lie, this is really good for marathon.
Fantastic.
So yeah, double jump is great, and what does double jump allow us to do? Basically, remember the boat? That boat section? I could, as soon as I finished the boat, just trigger the side quest and came straight here. I didn't because, for one, I need the levels, otherwise these enemies are going to be a pain. And for two, actually I kind of lied, I need to get level 16 as a requirement to unlock the side quest, but for one of those two factors, we could, as soon as we get out of the river, go to the final area of the game. We wouldn't even need it to do a POC. We did just to unlock the grinding spot. In fact, that's what we do in any percent max stats, because you don't have to grind. Get out of the river, straight to the end of the game. That skips doing the dungeons in Xylem, so there are 2 dungeons, plus a vehicle session, plus the final dungeon of the area. That also skips Venom Jungle, which is 3 dungeons, plus the final dungeon, which is one of the longest in the game. And now we're here. And that's why this run is as fast as it is. People that have played the game even know how much I've skipped.
You know, I can only take your word for it, but it sounds like you have skipped a significant amount if you're saying you're in the final dungeon now.
Oh no, not the final dungeon, the final area.
Oh, final area. My apologies.
I need to kill enemies for doors to open, but I don't actually need to kill those Infamon, I just need to kill the Megadramons. Infamon are the spiders, the Megadramons are the dragon kind of thingy. Again, same thing here. I don't need to kill the spiders, just the Megadramon. Oops. Okay. Infamon are probably the worst enemy in the entire game, and the reason for that is, you know the very OP power down technique that we have? Yeah, they do as well. So they can debuff us. And we make our life miserable. It's like, we use it for offensive purposes to decrease the enemy defense, but the technique also decreases attack. So it makes us deal less damage, and take more. Amazing. You might also see me hitting enemies once and then powering down. That's because even with the broken 5 times multiplier, powering down is not enough to kill those Megadramons. So I just do a quick tap, oops, and then I use the power down. Now we could have used the Thunder Metal because we do have access to that. However, the Dark Metal is way more effective against the Infamon. So as you've seen, I was able to just hit them once and they would die immediately, and they are much higher priority targets than the Megadramon. That's why we use the Thunder Metal, the Dark Metal instead of the Thunder. We're gonna have to do some swaps later. These are Raремon. They suck because when they go through that, like when they trigger that green aura of theirs, if you hit them, not only do you take damage, you also get poisoned sometimes. So if Infamon is the worst enemy in the game, Raремon is the second, and if you think it's the other way around, I don't blame you. It's up to personal preference. I personally hate Infamon a little bit more. Yeah, see, right there, I had no choice. I just had to hit him, and now I'm poisoned, and there's nothing I can do about it. Avoid that wave. Ah, that's bad. Okay, so now we can't kill him in one shot.
That power down really powered you down.
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
Is it, when it's used on you, is it still the same, like, by 5?
No, it's not the same strength.
Well, at least there's that.
Luckily, it's not the same strength. Actually, because like when I say it's +5, it's what actually happens is not a percentage multiplier. It's actually a minus offset to defense. However, the way the damage formula works, defense is calculated at dividing your total damage. So it can vary. Like if an enemy has a lot more defense, the percentage will be lower. Whereas if it has a lot less defense, it will be higher. So the same with fixed amount of cast. Okay, so here we have a boss. We're gonna dance with him. We understand it's AI pattern. I'm in a bad spot. Basically, if you get too close, he'll do the wave attack, and if you get far away, he'll do a block of sorts that will prevent you from dealing damage. So we kind of juggle it at a safe distance where he'll just walk up to us until we can get the power down. Luckily, we got it relatively quickly, so we didn't need to do that. Again, as I said, that is a boss.
Question from chat for you. Would it be better to play Digimon World 4 on PS2 or Gamecube?
GameCube, absolutely. Now, if let me just say that PS2 has 20-second load screens, whereas a GameCube on a Wii has lower than 8. Or let's just say that. And if you're willing to go through emulation and go in, I'm not using that obviously, but go into the settings and trigger speed up data transfer, it literally becomes 1 second loads on emulation. So it's like pretty fast. Okay, I'll collect more stuff. Now, we want to try to use primarily MP disk alphas because they are more efficient for the money and we're kind of starved. Obviously, we have a limit on how many we can carry, so we need to resort to using betas eventually. But if you can, try to use MP alphas first and leave the betas for later.
From everything I've watched so far of this run, this game screams like this would be better in multiplayer, but I have a feeling it doesn't have any multiplayer.
It does have multiplayer. 4 people co-op on PS2 and GameCube and Xbox, which for the time is like pretty rare.
Yeah, that actually sounds super good, given the thing. Like I'm getting a lot of like kind of Diablo-esque and like Phantasy Star like online vibes from it, and 4-player co-op would probably make this pretty rad.
Yeah, it becomes a lot more fun, especially because there's a limit on far away you can get from one another. So you could use that to your advantage and kind of get your one of your friends stuck in the middle of enemies with them being unable to move out of it. It's really fun. It's really fun. Like you're trying to walk in one direction and then someone else is walking in a different direction and so you can't move. Oof. It's amazing. It's really fun. Hey, I should mention real quick, you see me having switched the dark metal for the thunder metal. The reason for that, before the boss, the reason for that is twofold. One, it increases damage, but two, in this dungeon there are electric blob thingies that can only be destroyed if you have a thunder elemental attack. So it is required to progress through the game. You'll also see that sometimes, for some reason, I deal upwards of 400 damage, and sometimes, like right there, I dealt 266. Like, what is going on? See, the game is absolutely great, and even though your elemental metals are increasing your power by like 40-60%, sometimes even more than that, sometimes the game decides to calculate damage as if you didn't have any equipped. Because Digimon 4, for no apparent reason, it sometimes decides to do weak hits, and sometimes it does strong hits. And that makes coming up with a route for optimal damage ranges absolutely fun. So the reason why I switched to the dark metal is to have the potential to one-shot the Inframon, which I actually got one of them. But then I got powered down and then everything went downhill there. But if it worked as it should, I would have very quickly gotten rid of all of them. That's why you switch the metal right there. Just to switch it right back because there's one of those blocks that you need to destroy. So see right there, that enemy should have been dead, but isn't, because the game decided, you know what, I'm gonna give you a weak hit instead of a strong one.
Well, you always need that roll of the dice, the minimum and maximum damage rolls.
I'm not sure, but I think it's the 50% whether you get the strong or the weak hit. This power down doesn't matter because we're already at the end of the floor.
Oh, so it's not even a range? Either you get like a weak hit or a strong hit?
Yes, you either get a weak hit or a strong hit, and after that, you get the plus or minus 5% range. It's like, the way that the damage formula works is that having a metal will always increase your damage. How much? It depends on the enemy. Sometimes it's as little as 5% extra damage, sometimes it's as much as 90% extra damage. It depends on the metal and the enemy. And sometimes the game will calculate the damage based on, you have that, let's apply the elemental increase. But sometimes it decides, you know what, not today. Today you're gonna do as if you had no metal to boost your damage. This is the scariest run of the game. Okay, we're good. There's a healing wall that you have to hit 3 times to get through. And unfortunately those Ramon can have a technique that stuns you on the ground. And you can't see because of the shadow. And there's the Inframon that can power you down, making your defense and attack miserable. And the Ramon can poison you. So it's the scariest rune in the entire game, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a lot of and this can happens.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there was that first boss again. Well, third boss. Something.
The official name is Genesect, except it's Mecharo 4. Okay, so I said the Mecharo 1 at the very beginning, and this is the 4. So by that alone, you know that we skipped at the very least 2 and 3.
Yeah, this is clearly 4 more better than that one.
Mm-hmm.
3 more
the
better.
Scorpions
Wow.
that we've been grinding on are the Mecharo 2s, and the Mecharo 3s we don't see in the run anywhere. Actually, that boss in the last dungeon, the big lion thingy, that's the Mecharo 5. Get out of my face. Okay, this was pretty bad, but we're through. Now here comes the Xylem's Riddle. So what went on there is that you have to wait a tiny little bit for the middle platform to deactivate so that you can step on it. And rather than just waiting a random amount, you just wiggle the analog back and forth 3 times, and by doing that little wiggle, it gives you just about the perfect timing to wait and not lose anything. The guy that came up with the strat with Xylem, and I came up with the Zwiggle as the timing method, so it's the Xylem Zwiggle. Pretty simple. Oh, by the way, there's a train here. That's the gimmick of this dungeon. There are train tracks, and you have to walk over them, and if the train shows up... Okay, good RNG. The train could have shown up there and hit me. It didn't. You can jump by that guy on the corner. There are 3 of those corner jumps. I got the first one. Let's see if we can get the other 2 later.
A good amount of movement tech in this. I like this.
I should mention that that reflective surface that I was on just then and there. Ice physics.
It looked like it. My favorite thing in the game.
It actually comes into play later because if it wasn't for the ice physics, some of the strats would actually be different. Only marginally, it's not that big of a deal, but they would be a little bit different. Do we get the train? Good RNG, thank you game.
So does the
Nice,
train
second.
bring you to 1 hit? Does it hurt you just a lot? Or what does this train do to us?
Percentage based on your max health. Not sure what the percentage actually is, but I think it's something along the lines of 30% maybe?
That's good damage for a train in a video game.
You can block it though. You can parry pretty much anything that's not a ground trap in the game. If it moves towards you, you can probably parry it. Now, it is more efficient to hit these enemies once and then power them down. But because there are so many of them, sometimes you just want to reduce their numbers a little bit and you just power down anyway. Like right now, there's only like 2 of them, might as well hit once and then power. But when there are 5 of them together, just cast it and make the most use out of your MP as possible. And try to separate them. Even if you're not going to one-shot and you're going to have to wait, it's better. Here's the interesting thing, because I'm doing 80%, I'm going left. If I was doing max stats, I was going right. I would be going right. Ice physics again. We would block dash a little bit earlier if it wasn't for the ice physics. Not a big deal. And there's the train. It can come from either side. It cannot come at all, of course, and that's even better. But if it's going to come, you can either come in the direction that you're going or against it. And you want it to be against it, because you just block and keep going. Whereas if it was the same direction, even if you blocked it, because you'd be walking inside the train's hitbox, you'd just get hit again later. So you have to backtrack like for half a second.
You know, I'll be honest, that's not what I expected the train to look like. Like at all.
That's a Trailmon, and it's a staple in the season 4 of the anime. Oh no. Okay, remember about the scariest room in the game? This is also the scariest room in the game, because not only do you have those things that kind of make this a Toho game, but look at how many bullets everywhere. You also have the Infamon that follow you from the previous room to power you down and make your life miserable. So this is also the scariest room in the game.
Yeah, I think every good speedrun needs multiple scariest rooms in the game.
Emergency heal, I panic there. If you panic, just spam triangle on the PST control scheme. I think it's Y on Gamecube? I don't know. I use a DualShock 4 as my input method. But just spam that with as fast as you can, and the game will use your strongest healing option. It's the emergency heal, and it's really helpful. Obviously, you don't want to do that. You want to be in full control and only use as much healing as you actually need, because you want to save your best the best chip discs for emergencies. But like, if you're gonna die, do that because it's better than dying. Oops. Hello, ice physics.
I do appreciate like the super shiny floors on the ice physics areas. It's like someone just freshly waxed it.
And what's funny is that it doesn't take into account your momentum. You're either on top of it, and then your acceleration is gimped, or you're outside of it, and then you accelerate as normal. There's like no in between. So like, if you start walking fast, like for instance, if you start accelerating in the middle of like in the transition, you just end up going slower. Whereas if you like are going slow and then transition to outside of it, you immediately get a boost to max acceleration for no apparent reason. It is really weird. It is really, really weird. Like, you can see they're like kind of just snapped back into going right for no reason. That's because I left the place. Okay, so remember the boss that we fought through the dungeon? Yeah, it's back.
Okay, why not?
And that's a weak hit. I have to wait. Oops. Time to block wrong. So yeah, this is already the 4th floor, and this is the longest floor of them all. So you can see why this is the longest dungeon of the game of the run. Here we don't have a choice. We have to walk on the train tracks. It's gonna come eventually. Which side is it gonna be? Bad RNG. As you've seen there, I had to stop a little bit. If it had come from the other side, it would have been a little bit better.
I was betting on left, but this is why I don't bet on things.
50-50. There's also a super rare event where the train stops and you can ride it, but like, it is really rare. Really, really rare. But if it does happen, it takes you to a secret area inside the dungeon.
Oh.
There we go, level up, refuel our mana, but most importantly, because our tech cap increased, we now are able to get 661 points of tech, which allows us to get Petit Power Up. And it does exactly what you think it does. It increases our attack and our defense. And this is why Gamecube is literally the best Digimon in the game. Because you get the debuff, and you get a buff. Like, there are other characters that you could play as. None of them have power down and power up like Gamecube does. It is legit the best Digimon in the game.
So if we're just rolling through a dungeon, I can go over some things if you'd like.
Yep.
Alright. Hey everybody. You're still watching Digimon World 4 on Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing. What are we doing here today? We are raising money for NAMI. And you might be asking yourself the question, what is NAMI? What does that stand for? NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around 3 pillars: education and sport, awareness, and advocacy. NAMI operates a national helpline available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, which provides information, referrals, resources, and a compassionate, understanding, trained volunteer to support the caller. As well, all of your donations can go towards certain bid wars that we have going on and certain incentives. To go over things again, we have Disgaea 4 Complete coming up next, and let me give this page a quick refresh just to make sure I give you accurate information. We have, for Disgaea 4, an epilogue choice, and you can pick what Valvatores likes best. Still open for anybody. We got 4 options, 5 options with no bits there, so, and the winning option is Fenrich, which I don't know if it's a person or an object. but that's only got 25 bucks. You can absolutely take that over. We're almost at the incentive to fight the ultimate boss, Ball. And then, as well, we've got money going towards the maximum damage showcase, so we can show you how high that damage number can actually go. As well, the run afterwards, the Alliance Alive has a bunch of character naming incentives that don't have any money on them yet, so you can name a character. And bonus, if you're donating for, if you donate to the marathon, we have prizes. Prizes that are available right now, such as the Bart's and Gilgamesh charms, which are available until the end of this run. As well, we have the Super Neptunia RPG Steam code and a Valvatoris plush, which seems to be pretty popular. So get your donations in, and we'll see what we can do here.
Oh, there's the train. Luckily, we were able to avoid it. Okay, so I'm actually a little bit worried about my MP. I only have 2 more MP discs, and I still have enemies to fight and a boss. So I'm gonna try to be a little bit more conservative with my MP cast so that I make absolutely sure I can deal with the boss. As you might have seen on the previous fight with those Macro 5s, they can sometimes put up a shield. They only do that if you're too far away from them. And this is really hard to juggle. Like right there, it's based on your position. If you're too close, they'll do the rogue attack. If you're in mid-range, they'll walk to you. And if you're far away, they'll do the shield like this guy did right there. While on the shield form, 2 things happen. 1, they move really slowly, but 2, you can't hit them. Otherwise, they take no damage and you take the damage instead. And there are 2 ways to break it. 1, pray that the enemy breaks it, and the 2 is hit it on the back, and if you do that, it breaks the shield and deals the damage if they don't block. Normally I would be powering down through these enemies, but again, as I said, I want to make absolutely sure I have MP for the boss.
I do appreciate this dungeon's commitment to just giving you this enemy as a boss up front, and then it shows you the same enemy like 20 times afterwards.
You can actually do either dungeon in whatever order you want. Obviously, the intended one is first that, then this. I should mention this platform right here is on a global cycle. So you can only gain or lose time before the boss in increments of, I think it's 11 seconds? Alright, here's the boss battle, right? I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. That purple clown poisons you. Don't touch it. Also, that happens sometimes. Come on. Okay, so this is a pretty bad fight. Ideally, I would be out of it already. And not poison. Help. Help. Luckily, there are various degrees of poison. They're not equally strong, and the boss doesn't do that much damage. The poison from the Railmon actually deals like 5 times your max HP. Whereas this guy and the ones from the Scorpions only like about 75 your max. Nice. So if you can, right after dealing the last attack, keep holding the charge so that you prepare a charge attack, and so the cutscene spawns you at a set spot and releases your control. So you do a charge attack in the middle of the boss's dying cutscene and get a little bit of extra move speed. You can do that in mostly every boss, but it's not always that you are able to pull it off. In the Macro 5 fight, the one before this, I couldn't. But on this fight I did. So we're good. Anyways, here we go to the hopefully the last shopping section. If I die, I'm gonna have to do more. But hopefully that won't happen. I'm gonna sell everything I have, including the speed chip, and buy as much MP as I can. And do I have discs I can sell? Okay, it's not too bad. Oh, forgot the last one. Alright, so what am I gonna buy? I'm gonna buy as many MP alphas as I can. Then I'm gonna buy as many betas as I can. I'm gonna buy a couple of Q discs. They serve for poison. Because the final boss can poison us. And with the rest of the money, I buy an MP. Gamma. Actually, both Beta and Gamma already heal more MP than we have at Mana Pool. But because we can only carry so many of each disc, use the rest of the money onto the Gammas. They're not efficient at all for our purposes. But we really don't have much better to do with the money, so you should do that instead. Anyways, for every fella that absolutely loved that frame perfect, well, double frame perfect, double RNG roll trick, unfortunately we have to do it again. This time it's going to be easier because our level is a little bit... Actually... Ooh, I almost made a mistake. You needed to go into the next area with a max with 5907 experience or less for the next level up. So that you get a level up right before the final boss, which obviously makes you stronger, and additionally it heals you. So there we go. Now my experience is just right. Glad I remembered at the last possible minute. And here we go. So as I was saying, it's a little bit easier because one, you have more stats, two, you can actually see what you're doing. The previous area you were going against the wall, so you can't really see much. So this one is a little bit easier, but can still very much kill your run. I've had runs die to this second double jump.
So what's the normal method of getting over this wall?
You spawn on top of the other side that I double jumped onto, because that's the normal spot that you would spawn if it wasn't for the side quest. And there you can flip a couple of switch, if you do spawn through that area, a platform raises so you can go to the side and you got like, right here, see that thing to the left? The thing spawns right there and you can get up and go the other way around instead of having to come here from the bottom. That's the intended way. Come on. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do. We have to do this. The trick saves hours a run. You don't have a choice. You could take hours to get it. Hopefully it won't happen. But... I mean, there are days where I get it straight away. There are days where I spend a whole bunch of time and don't get it. It just happens. There are some things you can do to try and help you out, but at the end of the day, it's mostly RNG.
Yeah, from your description of it, it sounded wild. Like it's 18 frames after you get hit on a perfect frame, so that's a lot.
Yeah, pressing it too early is fine because you control it a lot, but if you press it one frame too late, yep. The name says it all. Too late. Alright. Entering speedrunning focus mode. Go.
Well, while Fire's in focus mode, I'll remind you that this run's getting there. It's, I don't want to say just about over, but we're in the last area of the video game. If you want said parts and Gilgamesh charm, now's your last chance, really. Well, not now. You have until the end of the run, but, you know, now is the general time of now.
Time.
Oh, hey! Oh, I thought we might have gone up there. Maybe we did. Not yet. Soon. But that's only $5 for that parts and Gilgamesh charms. To be entered in to win said charms. As well, if parts and Gilgamesh aren't your jam, there's always Super Neptunia RPG Steam Key and the Valvatore's plush at $20. So, if any of those prizes tickle you, maybe get that donation in.
Feels good, man. Okay, so this next area right here, there's a puzzle. Basically, what it boils down to is that there are 5 levels, 5 heights, and you have to get to the top. And to get to the top, you must flip those switches to unlock platforms so that you can climb. But the thing is, the next area will not. There's a door blocking your way, and the next area will not open unless you have the exact perfect magnetic balance. That's what the game tells you. Come on. Normally I don't get stuck there, but so what this means is the blue/green, however you want to say it, and then there are those red, purple thingies, and you have to flip 3 more blue switches than you flip red switches. Casualing is a really complicated puzzle, and you just get it by accident. You don't know what you're doing. For a speedrun, we know exactly the best route to take. So, as you've seen there, I deliberately fell down and went out of my way, and now I'm backtracking. Why is that? Because you need to push an extra switch to unlock the next area. I should also mention that this area greatly increases the amount of enemies that can be on screen at once. So if you're running on the PS2, you legit get to single-digit frame rates. And it's not a joke, you get to single-digit frame rates. One other reason why you want to play the Gamecube version for the sake of speedrunning.
That also sounds like for the sake of having a good experience, that the game doesn't hit single-digit frame rates.
Yep. Alright, copy pasta. I know it says core area, but the actual name of this thing is copy pasta. And you'll see why in a little bit. Also Imperial Ramon, say hi.
There's something very straightforward about the naming conventions in this that I really appreciate. Well, minus the random animals that are named after seemingly like computer programs.
Yeah, names sometimes don't make much of a sense. And
Imperial Dragon.
Names, I must apologize. I forgot that these enemies, the Mecharog 3s, aka those dog rhino thingies, they actually show up in the run. I'm sorry. I said it, they didn't, but they do.
This is just a pleasant surprise then.
And in fact, I double jumped off of them. I don't know how I didn't remember that they exist. Don't worry about it.
Too much focus on the trick and less focus on the actual enemy.
Okay, so we need to kill these enemies so that we can push a button and move on to the next part. Now pay attention to this layout, right? I killed a couple of enemies, a bridge spawned, right? And then I'm gonna kill more enemies. You're gonna start seeing a pattern real soon. switch the medals around because to deal more damage to enemies. I'm not gonna switch it until the final boss anymore. It just turns out that at the very beginning it's better to switch, and then you make use of it, and then you don't switch again for the rest of this area. And every time that I'm fighting these enemies, the priority is always the Inframon because, as you guys have seen, they can power down. What you have not seen is that they can multiply themselves. So like, imagine if fighting one Inframon, right? Now you have to fight 2 of them. At any point, they might decide, you know what? I don't think there are enough enemies for you to fight. Here, there's some more. So that's why they're like your top priority. I'm gonna collect these items. There's no point because we're not gonna sell anything anyway, but just in case I die, I will need money to replenish all the items that I've used, so just in case, I need something that I can sell. Oh, that's bad. Okay, so we kill enemies, push the button, then move the block. Then we kill Imperialdramon. Then we kill more enemies to push a button. And then we're gonna kill more Imperialdramon. Can you guys see a pattern here?
Is that your control, the what you said, you called this place something? Copy pasta.
Copy pasta.
Yes.
Yes.
I see what you're saying now.
So as I've said during the grind section, these guys are dropping level 37 equipment. I'm obviously not 37. So you can see the power of power down. Pun intended. In fact, it's a funny story, because back when I started running the game, because I'm in the first wave of people to try it out, and I didn't know about Power Down, so I just assumed that Agumon was actually going to be the best Digimon to play the game with, because Agumon has the power up to increase our strength and does our attack. So I thought that thing was the best one. And then people told me about Gilmon, but didn't tell me about Power Down. And I thought, nah, you're clearly wrong. Like, Power Down doesn't do that much, right? It's only a little bit. Because at the beginning it really is. It doesn't really do much at the very beginning. And so, I went ahead, and so people sniped the world record by using Gilmon. It's still speedrun.com. You can check the 20-hour run. It is a meme, but back in the day it's technically the first run. So it's still there. For legacy reasons, I guess. And they did it with Gilmon. And I was like, I'm gonna prove that I'm right by getting world record with Agumon. So I did. This 20 hours is a meme. And then I looked at the run. And then I looked at Power Down. And then I went, oh. Oh.
Yeah, this Power Down really feels like it's tremendously better than Power Up, and having both is just even better. But I never, like when I play video games, it's like, oh, status effects, those aren't worth it. But no, this is super worth it.
Normally you don't need power up to get to kill those Imperial Digimon, but because I am powered down, I have to make up for the loss of attack. Also, I'm taking some heavy damage. Those bombs are very scary, not because they do too much damage, but because it is possible they kind of get stuck in a loop where you take the damage and fall off the platform, but because you're falling off the platform, your animation is reset. So you take damage again from the bomb, but then because you take damage, you get damage boosted onto the platform, resetting your animation, and then you just get hit like a bajillion times really quickly, and you die if you're not paying attention, like if your health is not high enough. There is a limit. If you take too many hits at once, the game gives you some iframes. But like, it only happens I think after 7 or 8 hits in a row, and that's enough to kill you if your HP is not high enough.
This place seems mean. I'll throw it out there.
To be fair, you're not supposed to be here at 23.
I guess that's true, but still, I'm gonna go with mean.
How many MP discs I have? I have enough. I think. Oh, I should mention that I think everything here can drop recovery. Basically, it's full MP and HP heal. We don't have the money to buy it, it costs 3,000. But if an enemy drops it, you can bet that I want to get it. For obvious reasons. Oh, HP disc, unfortunate, but like, if it was a recovery, it would have been very much worth it to go back and grab that. Oh no. Oops.
Yeah, you weren't lying about this place. About how it just kind of has its visual design repeated over and over. I thought like maybe a few times, but wow, this is a lot.
Yep. Okay, on the flip side, I think this is the last one. Because it feels like I've been here forever, so it must be the end, right?
That's how it works. That is exactly how it goes.
Now, I could just heal, but I won't, because I want to save as many MP discs as I can. And I'm gonna get a level up off of these guys. There we go.
Before you dive into final boss rush, I can read our donation here.
Be very quick about it.
Oh,
the boss is coming up.
We'll wait till after your boss then. No reason to rush.
3 phases here. This is the first one, and there's a quick kill. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, it sucks. But it'll attack 5 times before triggering the first cycle. So I want to get it a 0 cycle. Let's see. Good. Oh, that's already 1. That's not very good. 2. This is bad. Okay. 3, 4. Yeah, I won't get it. What a shame. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it. What you want to do is kill the boss before it goes into that ball attack, which it does after 5 hits. And the reason for that is because it's gonna call for help. And now, oops, there are 4 bosses to fight at once. Granted, these clones are weaker, they have lower stats, and they can't do the laser attack thingy. But it's still stuff that you have to deal with anyway. And the gimmick of this fight is, if you kill the final boss, the boss, while there's still a clone around, it'll actually take over the body of one of the clones. Refill the HP, and keep doing that until one of you is dead. So, yeah, this fight could be over. Now, each time it does that, the max HP is reduced, so eventually you'll just win by a war of attrition, but it's obviously slow for the purposes of a run. Okay, so now that I've already went into a cycle, all I have to do is make sure that this thing doesn't die while I can't kill the boss. So I just kind of have to wait for the boss to come back here so that I can power it again, lower its HP enough so that the next hit will kill it, and then time with the killing the clone. So now I have a good shot. I'm gonna wait for a little bit. Get back here, please. Get back here, please. I don't know how much damage I need to do to this guy. Okay, we should be in good spot. There we go. First phase complete. Now, second phase. You might have noticed that I am using the fundamental. That's because that's the strongest against that particular phase. Against the next phase, I need to switch to ice to deal as much damage as possible. Additionally, I'm gonna heal early. The next phase has a damage cap. For some reason, I think it's the only enemy in the entire game where you can only deal a maximum amount of damage at once. In this case, it's 484. At higher difficulties, the cap is higher, but in normal mode, you can only deal a max of 484 in a single hit. With that said, it's still worth it to equip the ice metal. That thing poisons you, and it deals a lot of damage. So yeah, riveting gameplay right here. I should also mention that the hitbox is really deceptive on the poison wave. Okay. After the first health bar, it goes into the period of iframes, and then it gets bigger and shoots rocks. And if you don't... Well, I don't know what actually causes it, but eventually the boss will... Whoop, there's the hit. You can see how much damage it dealt. That's why we bought the cure discs earlier, just in case I got poisoned. Those track lights, if they hit me, they're gonna stun me on the ground. Oh, there's the hit again. I'm playing this a little bit safe. I could kinda YOLO it, but I don't think it's a good idea. Because if you're not at full HP if that wave hits you, there is a very real possibility that you just die. Come on. You know what? Let's cure. Come on. There we go. We should be able to defeat it on the very next cycle. Okay, there we go. It is very much possible to die to that fight. I decided to play it safe. Normally I would be a lot more YOLO with trying to block the poison waves, but I just don't want to die at this point. One is pretty decent I want to finish without having to go... Because if I die, I have to go through another double jump. I have to go through the core puzzle area, we have to go through the copy pasta stage, and defeat first phase again. So I definitely don't want to do this.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Alright. By the way, this is the final form. So I'm not gonna explain anything, I'm just gonna show. Oops. Okay, I will explain that I have to switch the metal to darkness because it's the strongest. Sorry. I'll just show the rest. So, how's everybody going?
I'll go with I'm pretty good. I am watching.
Keep in mind, I'm only using one hand here on this fight. I'm literally just pressing the buttons with one hand. Snap! I pressed it wrong. Okay. There's a real possibility that we die right now. Because you're not supposed to hit it in the middle of the lightning attack, but my hand slipped and did it, so it's out of the manip lock. We should be fine though. With this health, we should be fine. Okay. A little bit of adrenaline at the very end of the run. He could kill me. Okay, never mind. Time. Sorry for... I just panicked, okay? I just panicked a little bit. So explaining the fight a little bit better. As long as... at the very start of the fight, you can only do 1 of 4 attacks. And as long as you do not hit him in the middle of the lightning one, he'll just stay there using those attacks in a row without moving. And at that point, you can just get into the safe spot and kill him. Except I messed up and I panicked, but luckily didn't get punished. So there we go. Fellas, this is Digimon World 4. I hope you've enjoyed. I know it was a little bit anticlimactic at the very end, but that's because I messed up and started panicking. With that out of the way, final regards. If you liked what you see, I pretty much just streamed this game and Digimon World DS. There are other categories. There's a shorter one that gets rid of the grind. You start with a max level character. There's a longer one in which we go through hard mode. This was normal mode. But we go through hard mode and we don't skip any of the bosses, so you get to see the entire game. What else? If you'd like a more standard Digimon game, RPG thing, I do run Digimon World DS, which is somewhat similar to more recent Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, and the battle anyway. I do run that. And in general, the community just runs lots of games, so check out our Discord if you're interested. With that out of the way, the very last thing that I say is, in 2017, we were ahead of schedule, and we were able to spend about 2 minutes to Digivolve, which we don't do in this game. Question is, do we get those 20 minutes for 2020? If so, I'll do that. Otherwise, thanks for having me. It was a blast. See you folks around.
Alright, friends. That was a very, a really super interesting run of Digimon World 4. I've never seen that video again. I'm super excited about it. You are still watching Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing. I have 2 more donations before I leave, and I'm going to get those out of the way. And that is, we have $5 from Rocket Racer, saying mental health is an important cause, especially in these stressful times. I'm glad to see Questing for Glory has grown to a full charity marathon, even if it might only be this year. And $10 from Retrospector with no comment, but thank you regardless. And just hang out for a little bit. I think we've got a Restreamer swap coming up, and we'll bring you more video games.
Okay, so I'm still here. I don't know if the stream is actually going live, but if so, I'm gonna be walking towards the Digivolve just to show it off for you guys. I think I'm alive, because they said 1 minute to Digivolve, so if I am alive, you guys can tell me.
You are good to go still.
Okay. Normally, to unlock Digivolutions in this game, you go through a side quest. But the reason why we don't do this in the game is because rather than improving your character, you just start at level 1 again, so that would be slow. However, for reaching level 16, we want... Oh. Okay, never mind. I forgot that I still have the side quest active, so I'll have to go back real quick. Come on. to deactivate it so that I can access the Digilab. But as I was saying, when you reach level 16, you unlock a Digivolution that you can use without needing to do a side quest. And that is what we're gonna do. So, let's go for some powerful speed ups. Very intended gameplay. Okay, here we are. This is the Digilab. This is where I can adjust your Digivolve techniques and equipment. Would you like to adjust something right now? No. Hold on. Your digital DNA is Digivolve positive. It's confirmed. Congratulations, your DNA has learned a new Digivolve technique. And so we can now become Agumon. Go, go, go. Digivolve. Oops. Use this Digivolve. Reset items. Yes. Go. Fellas, thank you very much. It was a blast running. See you around.
Thanks, Fire. And I've been Glitchwitch. I think this is the end of my hosting shift. We're probably swapping restreamers, so we'll give you some music and we'll get you. I think it's this guy up next. Yeah, that sounds about right. We'll bring you that. So long.